Do you need a bit of help taking your Hearthstone technique to the next level? Do you find you just keep coming up a little bit short in those close matches? Well, this is the video tutorial series for you. We're going to go from the absolute basics of Hearthstone all the way to some advanced concepts and advanced decks and all sorts of things. There is so much to talk about. Now, this is episode 5 now, and we are playing through the tutorials, but this isn't a tutorial, and we're going to be focusing on some of the main gameplay concepts that you really need to understand to be able to play at a higher level. So, let's take on this dwarf and let's learn Hearthstone. So here we are versus Hemit Nessingwary, and he's played out his little dwarf to take us on. Now, this is going to be one of the times where I'm going to kind of disagree a bit with the tutorial and kind of play around a little bit, talking about what I think works as a concept. Clearly, I think the tutorial is suggesting that you play this Stone Tusk Boar with charge and kill this. But I don't want to, and the reason for that is you need to get maximum value out of your cards. You need to get the maximum effect and impact out of each one. And yes, we can kill this 1-1, but all we've really done is kind of drawn even again, rather than building up an advantage. So this is one of those situations in which I think a new player would play straight in, but I think a more experienced player would, well, probably wouldn't put that card in their deck to begin with, but they would probably stop and go, right, I could use this now and deal with this 1-1 minion, but I could use it to even more effect later on, and they would probably hit end turn at this point. And yes, we take damage, and yes, you might be there kind of going, but he's hitting us, he's killing us, and yeah, he is. But we've got, in this particular match, 27 health, and like I've said in previous ones, you know, we only need to be able to get to, we only need to have 1 health left at the end of the game to win, so we just need to kind of use our health as a resource, just as we use cards and just as we use mana. Speaking of which, I hope you spotted in this tutorial that we actually went second, which means in Hearthstone, you get an extra card. It is a disadvantage to go second, I think, because it means you get the increased amount of mana second every turn. Like you get 2 mana second, 3 mana second, 4 mana second, etc, etc. So you're always kind of playing catch up a little bit, but card advantage works quite nicely to compensate for that. Now, this is the first time that the game lets us use our hero power. Now, hero powers are great, and each hero has a different hero power. They do things from drawing cards or blasting minions or shooting the opponent in the face. They do all sorts of things, but you've got to be aware that they cost mana. We've got 2 mana this turn. If we play this, we aren't going to be able to play anything else this turn. In this particular case, it is the right decision, because now we actually saved that card at the beginning. We can use our hero power to take this out here without taking out a without it costing us a card. But I'm not developing the board, and I've put nothing onto the board yet, which isn't great. And sometimes when you do play an opponent and they're playing just their hero power in the first few turns, it's normally a sign they've got a bad draw. Not always, but it's normally a sign that they haven't really got a great draw, and they haven't got, you know, good card minions to play at that point. Now, hero powers can be game changing. You know, when you just need that 1 extra damage, the mage is brilliant. When you just need that extra little minion, which you can buff up, the paladins is brilliant. When you just need an extra card, the warlocks is brilliant. You know, they are fantastic, but you've got to be aware that they cost mana, and by playing that hero power, you are choosing not to do something else with that mana this turn. However, in the right situation and the right times, and I think this is one of those times on the board here right now, you can shoot your opponent, and with the mana left over, you can then try and develop the board as well. Now, what we're going to try and do here in this tutorial is, just like we did in the previous one, is use taunts to protect other more vulnerable minions where possible. And we can see here that we've got our old little friend here, the raid leader. And remember why raid leaders are so good is because they buff the other minions the turn it goes onto the board. So this little guy here, he can't kill that guy there. But play the raid leader, and all of a sudden he can, which is great. But remember, charge minions can attack the turn that they are played, and we want to try and protect our taunt to keep other things kind of protected behind it. So even better than that is our little Stone Tusk Boar that we kept right at the beginning of the game for to be used for maximum effect. And here is that maximum effect. We need instant damage right now to protect our taunt. We've got our raid leader out, so this little 1/1 actually becomes a 2/1, and we've now just protected our taunt by doing so. So, you know, think about when you play cards, you know, are you getting the maximum benefit out of that minion or that spell? Are you playing things too early? That's often a mistake that new players make. You know, they use their fireballs on turn 4. They use their hexes on turn 3. They use their polymorphs, which we can see one here. I mean, I could polymorph that, but it's too small. You want to save these cards for the maximum, the biggest minion you possibly can. Does that make sense? So you're going to get, they're going to get affected the worst by it, and you're going to get the best benefit out of it. And knowing when to play minions and when not to play minions is a real learning curve. When to play cards is a real learning curve in Hearthstone that you gain through experience, through knowing the cards and through experiencing the game. We can actually do the same thing here that we did last time with the Stone Tusk boar, again immediately buffed up. And we've got 4 mana left over, and we can now put out a second taunt. So our raid leader, who is a very vulnerable card, has to be said, is now nicely protected. Board control is completely ours, and we talked about that in the first tutorial. And basically anything he plays now, we're able to kind of take care of through what's on the board and through what we've got in our hand, because we've got a nice little selection of spells here. Now, he's played a big minion, as he should. He's playing, you know, he started with small minions, and his minions have slowly got bigger and bigger and bigger. And because we've got nicely control of the board, we've actually got options of how we deal with this. We need to get to 6. We could hit it with the Sen'jin Shieldmaster, and note that the Sen'jin Shieldmaster would survive. We could Wolf Rider, and, you know, some combination here. We could Sen'jin Shieldmaster, Arcane Explosion, and Hero Power would do it. Or we could use the polymorph. Now, this tutorial, I think, is pushing us towards the polymorph, because it kind of said, I need some way of dealing with that, and then the polymorph popped into your hand. Personally, I don't know. I don't think that card is big enough for the polymorph. I think that because we've nicely developed the board at this stage, this would be a situation in which I would deal with it with the minions that are on the board, and I would save the polymorph. However, the tutorial is suggesting that we use it, so I think in this case we probably will. But you need to kind of take that point on board, that it's, you know, we've put these minions here for a reason. We've put these minions here so we can actually deal with what he plays, and we can deal with what he plays. You know, we've got enough good stuff here that we can pretty much take out his minions and keep this going. But either way, we'll follow the tutorial. We'll do what it's kind of suggesting we do. We can get rid of this. We can use our remaining mana to ping that off, and then hopefully we can set up for lethal next turn. Note, I haven't actually got many minions on the board, just 3, but in those 3 minions in the space of 2 or 3 turns have taken us down to the point where we have lethal next turn, which again is what I've talked about in those early tutorials. You know, get control of the board, clear his side of the board, and then the hero damage, the face damage, it'll happen by itself. You know, you don't need to force it, because look, 1, 4, 6, 8. You know, we've got 8 down. We don't even need to play anything else that's in our hand, but just by keeping control of the board, using spells, you know, trading minions efficiently, keeping cards for when they are most useful, we've quite easily won this little game here against Helmet Nessen wearing. And he's put up another taunt, and again, because we've now kept our cards back, we've got a variety of ways that we can deal with it. Probably the most effective way, and this keeps our minions alive again, hit it with that, because he survives the attack, ping it off with the hero power, and then we can either, we've got 4 damage here, we could finish it with the Wolf Rider, or even just hit out the Night Blade for the final 3 damage, which would also give us a slightly stronger board for the turn after if the game was going to carry on. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and that the principles we've discussed will help you kind of improve your gameplay in Hearthstone. If you have found it useful, then thank you, and do hit the subscribe button, and do pop over and join us on twitch.tv/TheAdiposeTV as well if you would like to interact with me and the rest of the posse. And there'll be another tutorial coming up soon, so just let the playlist play, and good luck with becoming a better Hearthstone player. You have been fantastic, and you know what? So was I.